this is Vanessa Love, and this is my channel about the mental health field and related topics. So this is a little unrelated. I also want to talk about my arms because I have one. I have one person who follows me who's always like your arms. So I will go into a little detail of like things that happen with my arms. I guess from gripping a lot, I have this part of me that is very defined, and I don't know how I did that, but I sometimes just look at it. And then also, once I was able to go to the gym more than once a week, my arms just filled up. Like, and there are people, especially women, where like this part becomes, I guess, like, not as toned and so not as muscular, I guess. So like some people like it ends up like kind of looking I don't know, flabby, I guess. And so like for some women this is like a problem area. I don't know. I don't like for me sometimes when I look at my arms I think that they look really big and fat. I but like I guess you can tell that they're toned. So it's not like a big deal. Um, so yeah. Um, what you call it. So I wanted to talk about America's Next Top Model. So I grew up in a very not grew up. I went to high school in a very liberal area in California. Like liberal to the point of like police like allowed nudity as long as it wasn't offensive. That was the law. And like I'm guessing offensive would be like if someone like I don't know, didn't have enough patchouli on. Like if there was like open wounds or something, I'm guessing that, like if someone didn't have clothes and they had been sleeping, unhoused or whatever, like, and there were like wounds or whatever, that probably would be offensive. Um, but like nudity was otherwise fine. And then like lots of offbeat couples. Remember seeing like there's this place in Berkeley called People's Park. People's Park was a part of like a sit-in. The citizens who wanted to have access to the park. It was a whole thing in the 60s. I'm not really sure what it was, but People's Park is very famous. So like lots of stuff going on in Berkeley. So, what you call it? Having that as like there's a lot of body positivity, if they were gonna have America's Berkeley's Next Top Model, they probably would just have a bunch of people come down and take pictures. Like they wouldn't be like, we're having a competition. They'd be like, we're too nice. I don't want to hurt your feelings. Are you open to receiving feedback? That's how they would probably be. So like growing up in that environment and like realize like there was a lot of stuff that was like this is counterculture, this is mainstream, and there's still a part of me that will be like I don't watch mainstream movies. Indie movies are perfectly fine because they have they will shock you a little bit more with like not being so stereotypical. I like that better. Formulaic is formulaic. So like coming from that and like being like, oh, America's Next Top Model is mainstream. I don't think I ever watched. If I watched, I didn't watch a whole episode. I was not the person who was its target, really. And like it's surprising to me to hear how many people wanted to be models and wanted to like be a part of that, and like how terrible it was to have like a TV show that was so oh my god racist, which I'm like that's one of those things where it's like, well, most models were white, yeah, and like 6 foot tall or whatever, like 5'6", 5'8". I would already like not a part of that, like at that age and everything. So, whatchamacallit, um, sorry, just thinking of things. So, like, for me, I'm like, so you all took on these, like, you saw this TV show and you took the values and the morals that were like trying to be portrayed in those TV shows and movies toward yourself. I just don't think that that's something that, like, being in that environment that I was in was going to be me. Like, again, like, I was not interested in watching it because it wasn't that interesting to me. You know, there was never going to be a time where I was like, ooh, let me see what the models are being put through today. And it always sounded to me like it was too much and shitty and not very, like, women supporting women, you know, or women supporting like good body image or like natural body images or any of those things. It always sounded like unnatural, you know, and even before then, like model culture that was like known was like, well, you have cigarettes, two grapes, and an almond, and that's all that you get to eat for the day. And it's like, you know, why do we want to encourage this? Why is this like acceptable for anyone to be doing for their body? And listen, I know that I have been on here and I've said I love going to fashion shows, but I love going to fashion shows that are not typical. Like, I went to go support an influencer who was native. So like, once I found out that she was gonna be, I was like, all right, going, you know, like she was like, oh, I'm going to be a part of this designer's like, you know, show. And I was like, I can look up the designer. I can find it, you know? So I did, I got tickets. I went, you know, it wasn't expensive. It was like, God, if it was like $30, it might've been 40. I think it was probably 30, might've been under that. But like had a really good time. Saw a bunch of other like people too. Like designers. There's one designer that I'm still in contact with. Well, I mean, also like I still follow the influencer. But like I like the ones that are off, like, not off peak, but like, you know, that are like, you know, not the regular ones. I've been to a couple of regular shows and I'm like, this sucks. Like, even though I met like one of my friends from that show was shit. It like, I mean, as far as like outside of like the designers and the models, it was a nice show, but they definitely had a style for models, and I just don't want to support that. This is why I would never pay the $15,000 to go to like a high-end one. I don't care. And also they don't need my money, like, especially not in that way. Or it might be 15,000, it might be 1,500, whatever it is, it's too much. I'm not doing that. So like, yeah, like I just, you know, have my stuff that I go and look for. If you want to kind of, I guess, know, Impact was one of the ones that I really loved because they did talk about politics of textiles, and like they are trying to reduce textile waste. But like, you know, like again, going to a like a normal show is like so tough because like Impact has a lot of different models of various ages and various gender identities. You don't get that with mainstream ones. You get very similar looking people doing like wearing very similar looking things, and like the men who attended that show in particular were not, I don't even know, like they were very much there to support their partners, but it was also that they were there to very much gawk at women who had the same body type over and over and over again. It didn't feel good, you know, it felt very formulaic, um, really honestly. And like, oh, so you needed someone who looked the same, like just imprint over and over again. You know, I'm okay. I never have to go. And like when I went through fashion classes, like I went through pattern making when I was in college, and in college they were like, yeah, you know, like there's a lot of stuff that you can do for fashion shows, cool, you know, especially like if you ever want to be, you know, a fashion designer. But also, like, they don't care about the women. They care about how the, like, the whatever they're wearing looks on the person. And, you know, you hear that, and that's just sad, you know, because, like, this is the life of, like, a mainstream model. It just seems so, like, we don't care about you. We care only of your body as an object for us to just, like, you're a hanger, you know? And, like, again, with people accepting, like, basically the storytelling of America's Next Top Model was, this is the only way that anyone becomes a model. It's not true. But also, it's like, oh, if you want to become a top model, well, not a lot of those people became a top model. And if you look at them now, like, they have a normal, you know, body. It changed over time because they got married, they had kids, they had life events, they're on medication, whatever other thing that happens to people's bodies, that's what's happened. And, like, this should be a normal thing. But I think with some people, they're still looking at these people as, you were a model, you were this thin, you did look like this. It's kind of sad, you know, but a lot of people were taking on those morals and those values from this TV show. And, like, I think if I ever watched it, I would never, because, like, this is not healthy. This is not how I want anyone to treat their body, you know, like, I just can't imagine reinforcing that every week for years. And then, like, there are a lot of people who don't know that this is happening, that this is not someone's experience, because, like, I know how hard all of this can be on people and on women, but, like, you're, like, it's just, like, almost sad to be like, so a lot of people were affected by this, like, and now this coming back up is affecting a lot of people again. That's a lot, you know, like, I hope whoever is affected by this, that you do receive the support. And, like, I don't mean to be a person to brag about, like, you know, like, being like, I wasn't mainstream, I didn't care about that. I mean to come from a place of, like, that didn't affect me because of this support in the community that I was in. You know, like, this just didn't seem acceptable to me. Like, this wasn't a show for me, you know, and here's why. And it's just very surprising, because I'm like, I think that, unfortunately, women who are affected by this have to have these conversations with men too. Like, to be like, this is what I was looking at when I was this age, this age, this age, this age. Has affected me. Because if you don't have those conversations, it is very difficult for anyone to understand your mindset. Like, these are things that affected me. Like, I look at the stuff that affected me and I'm like, that's why I was like that. No, I got you. No, I know. Like, way before I was aware, the movie To Wong Foo, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, like, when I finally saw it, many years after it had been made, that affected me. I went back and watched it, like, probably a couple of years ago and was like, I see. Oh, okay. You know, like, oh, it's where I get a lot of stuff from. I got it. But, like, yeah, you know, if you talk about these things, like, you do, it's almost like you do have to, like, have the conversation of, like, you know, growing up in the early aughts was terrible for women, you know, because I'm like, well, You know, I did watch A Simple Life, and like I was like, this is what's expected, and Nicole Richie is the fat one, and she wasn't like she was size 3. Oh no, you know, like geez, so fat. But like there was a lot of that where it's like, oh my god, you're over 115 pounds. How dare you? You know, and it's like, oh my god, it's like I can only imagine people who were like 130 in, you know, N15, and they're being reinforced all the time to be like, but you shouldn't be that, like, you know, heavy. Like, can you imagine telling someone, a child, you know, or a very impressionable child, having this experience? Okay. Well, I have to run. So I hope this was helpful for you, and I will talk with you soon. All right. Have a good one. All right.